It's always, think about it, it's always them as the hero and the savior of the day. Like we don't need no motherfucking
not at all. And that's my problem. No, we don't need you as the savior. We can save ourselves, but we need your help to have unity. We need that. But that's the thing is, you can work with us without not being above us or saving us.
Because once again, like any other, you cannot subject any other race to what we've been subjected to and expect them to survive and thrive. And that's the most baffling thing to them. I'm not, look, for the listeners out there and whatnot, like this is the first time that we really went down this rabbit hole, and I'm super glad that we did. Like, you know, and if y'all think this is
about
new,
finances.
That and being
entrepreneurship, right.
If you got time, I promise you, we're gonna double back.
We're gonna double back.
Oh no, I'm having a good time.
Welcome to the Love Is Podcast with your host, that thorny chick, Karen KK Rose, and her co-host, the lovable a-hole, that's right, I said lovable, Mr. DK Walker, where they will be discussing love, relationships, family, life, sex, self-help, and what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. Why? Because love is everything, and everything should be loved. Now to today's podcast.
Hello, everyone. It's your girls, that Thorny Chick, Karen KK Rose, alongside her co-host, the lovable asshole, DK Walker. DK, say hello to the people.
What's up, people? What's going on? What's popping?
Oh, that was really good. Normally you're, in your sundowner's mood, but it's okay. I appreciate this energy. I needed it.
I sipped on a 5-hour energy drink, so I only sip.
Sip it. It's not a cocktail. It's a 5-hour energy.
All y'all got is 10 minutes worth of good energy. After the 10-minute mark,
if you don't chug that bottle,
I got to say that time's hard. Time's hard.
Listen, I will cash app you the $2 so you can go to 7-Eleven and buy another one.
Excuse me, it's actually $3.59 to be exact.
I will cash app you $4.25.
I appreciate that. Like,
chug it.
I work for this chick. You may have heard of her, the Thorny Chick. She don't pay nobody shit. So I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Chug it. Chug it. Chug it.
I'd like to chug it if I can afford it.
Listen, I will cash app you $4.25.
Oh, Jesus, Lord. I need a pay raise from nothing to something. That's all I need. Anyway, what's going on with you, man?
Oh, living the fabulous life of the Thorny Chick. I'm kind of in my bag and in my feelings today. I'm trying not to make this, a political moment, but I'm a little agitated by the news today. And I shouldn't have watched. I mean, that was my own fault, but here we are.
Right. So, I don't necessarily, to be honest, I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that rabbit hole is the abyss of bullshit. So,
Not the abyss of bullshit.
Yeah. You're talking about politics and, it's the abyss of bullshit. Did I stutter?
It's not. I'm not D class A and asking people who they're voting for.
you cute. You real cute, man. So that
I'm just
it's quite all right. I promise you.
And that's all.
All right. So anyway, what's new with you? What's going on with your family? Quickly bring us up to speed.
Mom's birthday is Saturday, and so we're having a little get together. My sister took her to go get her hair did today. So her first COVID beauty regimen, bless the Lord, because she's been complaining. So we found a new girl to do her hair versus the normal girl that does our hair. I'm getting a haircut Tuesday. Gavin is honing in on his coloring skills. The 2-year-old Tara is still the 2-year-old Tara, but his speech is coming along quite well. He was introduced to peaches yesterday. He liked them. So
cool.
Malia is getting ready to go to be a freshman. She's she was kind of bummed that she wasn't going to school, but now she's very virtual learning, so she's all good in the hood.
Cool. That's what's up with you for sure.
You?
My youngest turns 11 next Wednesday.
Let's take a moment. I was about to say, take a moment.
For what?
That's your heartbeat right there.
Oh, for sure. I love her I love her to life. I just need 7 more years to pass by so I can legally put her out.
And she's the one you're not gonna put out.
You shitting me. That's daddy baby though. Like
you ain't.
Yeah, well, that's Daddy Baby. You know, she has a super special place in my heart. But besides her upcoming birthday and us trying to, you know, hide her presence around the house and actually plan for it, you know, there's nothing new going on this side of town. We're good over here.
I'm going to check on you next week, Wednesday, while you're, you know, in the corner sobbing. My baby, my baby.
I honestly already had that moment. I already had that, you know, because like she go to hugs me and her head is on my shoulder. I'm like, what the? This is not. And then, of course, Facebook really messes you up because they always give you, they send you pictures like to
memory.
like, right. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Like she was just at my kneecap, you know, with a big old head and a crooked smile.
See, there you go. There you go. I can hear the tears forming.
Like somebody passed the tissue. Yeah,
you will be all right.
By the grace of God.
Yeah. I'll make sure of it. I will make sure to say extra prayers for it because that's tough when to see your babies grow up, you know, because I know mine are going to come up, you know, a couple, you know, it feels like yesterday I was taking Leah to kindergarten. Now she's a freshman. You know, she was the first baby for a long time, and now she's a freshman in high school. Like, and I know I'm going to blink, and the next time I feel like we're going to talk, you know, she's going to be graduating, and we're going to be trying to figure out her life for her versus letting her do it. But you know, it happens really fast. It's good. It's good, but it's hard for the parental unit.
Facts.
It's hard for the parental unit. Well, DK and listeners, we have a very special treat for you today. Instead of having to listen to DK and I go back and forth, because, you know, these last couple podcasts, we kind of been at each other's throats, you know, as all good podcasting units do. We brought a guest on. So now it's not just the two of us. We brought a guest.
So we're giving the listeners a break from, you know, our back and forth banter, our back and forth bullshit. And hopefully, you know, the guest will fall right in line and hopefully be neutral.
She will. Now, she ain't gonna be neutral. She ain't gonna be neutral, but she definitely gonna fall.
I promise you, this women run the world.
Who runs the world? Girls.
You want to finish the introduction?
Girls. Hey, I was enjoying my little Virgo season moment. Dang, you have to ruin everything.
I do.
Oh, Jesus, grant me serenity now. Do you remember the serenity prayer? Do you have that down now by heart?
Oh, gee, like, could you go on with the go on before I pull your toenails out with a coat hanger?
Here we go with that Hannibal. Here we go with that Hannibal business again. Here we go.
Anyway, dear. Without further ado.
Everybody. Oh, that drum roll sucked. You talk about mine. All right. So we're going to skip my favorite part. Actually, we should probably say that part. We're going to skip what the fuck news. We do have something to talk about, but we're not doing the usual what the fuck news. As much as I love it, as much as I adore it, as much as I love my little ratchet moment, we're just going to be on a different vibe today. So our guest today is Omegia Keeys, who is a producer, director, and a writer who's got 42 books, I heard, under her belt. She is also the owner of About Face Media Productions, not Love Face, About Face Media Productions, LAB Cosmetics, and the BG Credit Lab. She has honed her skills for over a decade of service in the military and is also using her skills as an author. Mimi, say hello to the Love Is podcast listeners.
Hey.
Thanks for coming by. Something Karen may not be aware of. Congratulations is in order because she is a newlywed.
Hey, yes.
Yes, let's speak on that. Like, you know, before we get into the mini hats that you wear, how's newlywed life treating you?
It is wonderful. It's funny because not much has changed because we've been together for 4 years and I was just, you know, the delayed person because this is marriage number 2. But I'm just so happy. Like, I'm just happy, man.
Yeah, like I seen the pictures and it really showed. Like your cheekbones were like the smile was like I seen all 32 of your teeth. You know what I mean? I promise you, like your smile was like you was going for real.
Yeah, man, because I just felt it. It's just like, you know, that's the love. You know, everybody say they want that twin flame and all that other stuff, but they don't want what all comes along with that twin flame. That twin flame is there to reset your butt. And so I've been through that. I got dragged through the mud, hunty. But it made me open to what I actually did want. That when I came into this relationship, I was just so adamant about what I did. I knew myself without a shadow of a doubt. I knew myself and what I was willing to accept. And it allowed me to be able to accept all the good that came with it as well.
Okay. So, and which is a great thing when a person knows their self, they knows their non-negotiables. It's easier to be in a back and forth relationship, a giving and taking relationship, because this is what I will accept from you. This right here, we're not even going to talk about. And once you know that, you sometimes you have to go through because this is my third marriage, by the way, right? Sometimes you got to go through a merge or two in order to really find yourself. Now, I could say by the grace of God, I should have got my joint right the first time, but I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I should have got my stuff right the second time, but once again, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now and have, two beautiful daughters. But everything works out, for a reason.
Absolutely.
So, Mimi, we have discussed some things about entrepreneurship, but we really haven't gotten a chance to delve into all of it. So we wanted to have you on because you've got a lot going on right now. I know you've got a super cool project going on right now because I've been like lightweight, maybe stalking you on Instagram just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. I mean, I have maybe double tapped a little harder than I maybe should have, excited that you're going to be on the show. So why don't you tell the listeners about your new project?
Well, currently, my production company, About Face Media, we are in the midst of a project called Surviving America, which is tackling racism in America. We have finished the principal filming of it, and now we're in the editing phase and, doing little pickups if needed.
Cool.
Okay. So what, taking it back a step further, what made you try your hand at filming? What made you pick up that?
It's hilarious because I've always been a filmmaker. I just didn't know that's what I was. I've been a filmmaker from the time that I was little, playing with my cutout paper dolls. Me and my cousin Tony, I would have scripts written out for my cousin Tony to act out. And it wasn't like kiddie stuff because Tony at that time, he was actually a teenager, but he enjoyed playing with me because I was so creative. But my other friends and stuff, they ain't like that stuff. They was like, look, we can't deal with you. But I've always been a filmmaker. I remember when I was little, we had this old, one of those old video reels. I'm talking about the old thing.
The big one.
Yes, the big ones. I actually put that back together and had got it working at one point. And of course, my brother, we always fight. He broke it, but I did fix it the first time. But with that, and then when I was in school and we had the communications classes and we had to do commercials, I just thrived in that stuff, but I just never knew it was something that I can actually do as a job because I never saw anyone like me doing that.
Right. So, Benzo, you didn't see anybody like you. It was only right that you became that person that you needed to be in your own life.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, but it just took me a little while to get there. I went through the military way first, and then once I got to writing my books, everybody kept telling me my books read like movies, and I'm like, yeah, there's a reason for that. So
that's a gift, right? When you actually are, and I'm so sorry to cut I guess turning off who was talking, but when you actually write and your writing is visible to the reader, that is a God-given gift. And the reason I say that because I'm not knocking other authors, but sometimes they will over describe a picture. What happens is you just make references here and there and you let the reader's imagination and mind do the rest. And so once a person is actually able to read your work and they can visually see it, they are so engrossed on the journey, they will not stop turning the pages until they get to the end of the book.
Absolutely. And that's a big thing because I am also an avid reader, and it drives me crazy when people over describe something. Okay, let my imagination have something there.
Right, exactly. You don't gotta go all the way in, but just enough, to keep me going. I'm reading this and whatnot, it's entertainment, but let my mind be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spell it all the way out for me. So, with your current project, what do you find the most difficult aspect of that?
The most difficult aspect of Surviving America is the stories that you endure, because everybody, most people with common sense know that racism is a thing, right? So,
damn right.
When you take in the racism that you've dealt with yourself and it's compounded by everybody else's, and then you're doing the research back on stuff. I've always been in tune with history and Black history, especially, but when you're putting all that together and you're looking at something from, let's say, 1917, And in 2020, and you're putting that stuff side by side and you realize nothing has changed. We're still fighting for the same thing. That's a gut punch.
Yeah.
Oh, to say the least.
Absolutely.
To say the least. And so what made you want to take on, that aspect of it? Because that's not easy to do. Because on one hand, you would talk to certain segments of people and they will believe that we're moving forward. But as you start to do your research, you see like we ain't moving no damn way.
Exactly. Yeah. And the reason I decided to take it on is because I was raised, my mother was an activist. My mother marched with Fannie Lou Hamer. My mother, anytime our city had any type of little protest or town hall, my mother had me right there with her. So it was just one of those things by being by her side. And I'm not about getting on the streets and stuff anymore. The military side kind of got me out of that because I will not, I'm going to just be honest here. I am not one of those people that if you roll up on me, that I'm just going to argue with you back.
Somebody going to catch hands.
No, well, you don't. Yeah.
Yes.
We definitely
and it's going to be automatic, and that's the problem. So this is my way of using my voice so to be heard. And my hopes is because it is a documentary, the first season is a 10-part documentary with a few bonus episodes to go more in detail on certain people's stories who've had some horrendous things happen to them. So with this being said, I hope that this is something that could be viewed from years to come.
I'm pretty sure that it will be. And the reason that I say that, knowing you personally, I know that you're going to give it your all, right? You're not going to half-ass the job.
Not at all.
Right. To say the least. So when you are interviewing people for Surviving America, like how do you approach them to be a part of your project?
Well, it's a few things. My team that I work with, they bring in some people, and I've already had some people that know me that reached out to me. And because when I started just talking about the project, people have been like for months now, oh, I have somebody that I think would be great for your project. And all they've heard was the name of it. So it's kind of like I didn't have to do a lot of work on this one. People were so willing to jump in and actually talk about it. Matter of fact, it was so many people that were willing to talk about it when I went up to Indiana, because I filmed in Atlanta and I filmed in Indiana. When I went up to Indiana, I just had to shut it down. Like I could not do anymore. I'm like, I have way more than enough. I had to, do a reset because it was way too many people.
Okay, but that gives you, added content, and of course you can turn that added content into bonus, like you said earlier, bonus episodes.
It is, but there is a certain time where you got to step back and do self-preservation too.
Facts. Yes, ma'am. Preach, preacher. Yes, ma'am. To say the least. Yeah. So, how do you plan on distributing Surviving America? Like, how will people be able to get your work?
Well, with my other films, we've have it on Amazon Prime, but this one we're filming it in the format that we'll be able to submit to Netflix, Hulu, iTunes, Apple. It's just the waiting game at that point and to see who bites. But it will definitely be on Amazon plus those other outlets. We'll see.
Well, before you even actually make that happen, because you're going to make that happen, I believe in speaking things to existence. Let me be the first to congratulate you. That's monumental what you're doing.
Why, thank you.
No, that's real talk. Like I've been a fan, since, like I first met you in Baltimore and we was at a book fair, if you remember, right?
Yes,
and I've been a fan,
I absolutely remember.
Right. So I've been a fan because like you watch people, they come and go, but you have remained you remain steady for umpteen years. And so that's a great look into itself. How do you juggle the many hats? Now we spoke earlier about you just being a newlywed, and we know that, if the listeners don't know, you have kids as well, right? So how do you juggle all these hats? Like you're on the road, you're doing the filming thing, you're the mom, you're the newlywed, you're an entrepreneur. And so speak to the listeners out there. How do you juggle the hats without going insane?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with, number one, I'm very organized. And then, the military, everything has its time and its place and its set. And so like when it comes to my kids, I made my kids independent at a very young age. Like I had my youngest, he's 14 now, but I had him cooking at 3 years old.
Really?
Yes. Like just doing little, I mean, because by that time that's number 3, you don't even care so much about them, you care, but you're not as, when you see the kid climb up on the counter, you're not as quick to go grab them down because the others have been through it. And I have over 136 nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews. So it's like, whatever. Boy, just if you okay, let me see what you can do. But he caught on to it. You have to know your child too. He wanted to do it, so I encouraged him to it. Now the sad part is the 14-year-old can outcook the 20-year-old.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, that may be his gift.
Yeah.
That just may be his gift. I'm sorry, like I'm asking a billion questions. Let me just, Miss Rose, if you want to chime in.
I did, but I was gonna let you have your moment. Let you go all the way out.
I promise you, I can go all day,
all the way out. And then I was like, okay, then I'll jump in. So, Mimi, what has this project, Surviving America, what is like the biggest takeaway that you've gotten from it?
The biggest takeaway that I have from this is that even ADOS, which is, American descendants of slavery. We were enslaved. We are not slaves. We're not slaves. We were enslaved. Rather, my biggest takeaway is that even now, when people are in the midst of the face of racism, they don't always recognize that it's racism, that it's systematic racism. Sometimes people get caught up and, well, they didn't call me a nigger. But
it's much deeper than that.
Yeah, but they are overlooking their living conditions and how they grew up, because one of the first questions that I ask people when I interview, I ask them, what's your first experience with racism? And most would be like, oh, well, I didn't experience racism until I was a teenager. And then I'm like, well, where did you grow up? And what did you see around you? And, in your neighborhood. And I start breaking things down. I'm like, honey, you experienced racism from the womb.
And didn't even know it.
Right. But, okay, I definitely get that. And you are 100% right. But one thing I can speak upon with Black people, we don't recognize the obvious, especially if it's a way of life.
Exactly.
We readily accept it as is, and we don't question it. We look around, we see people that we know, we see people that look like us, people that talk like us, like people that dress like us, and we just automatically assume we're supposed to be right here.
Exactly.
Like we create our prison, pardon me, and there's no jail.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which is go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, because to counteract that, I asked them what they see in their neighborhood. And then whenever they had to travel to another neighborhood, what did they notice was different? And then they connect the dots.
Right. So you don't see the pawn shops. You don't see the liquor stores. You don't see the, churches every other corner. You don't see these things once you start to leave your neighborhood and go to nicer parts of the city.
Yeah. And it could be on the same street. Sometimes you can go down the same street and that change is very evident.
Right. And people just think that's just a way of life. No, it's a systematic way of life.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the forefront. The systematic part of it.
So how are you prepping your kids? Because your children are in different ranges. So you have a 20-year-old, you said a 14-year-old?
Yes, a 27-year-old. And then I have 2 stepchildren, which is one's 15 and then the other one is 9.
So how are you preparing them for the world when they're, out on their own, or even now just going to school? Because it's definitely a conversation you have to have while you have, especially middle school kids. This is definitely a conversation you have to have.
I mean, I just had to have a conversation with my 14-year-old the other day. He got bombed on a Zoom. They were on Zoom and someone, there's some little group out there that they just get together and they bomb classrooms. His classrooms got bombed, and it was somebody on the classroom calling them niggers and everything like this. And he's, it's insane. And, one thing was I noticed the teacher had a delay in kicking that person out. And so I had to explain to my son, and there are some bad people out there. And I was like, and the people that you think are going to protect you aren't always going to be there for you.
Facts. So
I had to let him know. I'm like, every adult isn't right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't sugarcoat anything for my kids because I didn't have anything sugarcoated for me growing up. And the world, when they step out in the world, they're not going to see my 14-year-old as my baby. They're not going to see my 9-year-old stepdaughter as a baby. They're going to be like, oh, she's a sassy little mouth black girl. And that's not even it. She's confident in herself and she's not going to let you say anything to her because I'll sure make that nope, don't you go for it. No.
Right.
She's going to speak up for herself. So I let them know how people will perceive that, but that is not who they are.
Right. Do you ever think in your lifetime, and by the grace of God, you're granted a very long lifetime. Do you ever think in your lifetime that, America will have a better understanding? Oh, let me not bullshit. Do you think that you in your lifetime will see blacks and whites have a better understanding amongst each other?
I'm going to keep it real. And also because that's one of the questions that I ask on Surviving America. Absolutely not. I will be long and dead. My kids will be long and dead before it gets together. Because just think about it. You have these interracial relationships out there. My stepdad is white. I had to have a conversation with my stepdad in order for him to get it. I'm like, you love me and you've been in my life well over 35 years. And yet you still don't see some of the things that happen when they're blatantly in your face because you choose not to see them. It's so because it's not affecting you, then you act oblivious to it. And that's my own stepdaddy, somebody that loved me.
Right. So I guess that begs me to ask the question then, is that so much his fault or is that just a flip coin of benefiting from reverse racism, benefiting from white privilege?
It's both. My thing is this, yeah, he's benefited from white privilege all this time, but at the same time, when we're sitting at a restaurant and people assume we're not together, like when we walk into a restaurant, people completely overlook me if I walk in first and they'll immediately go to him. And then they're shocked that I'm with him. And he doesn't correct that. That's on him.
Facts. That has to be, a very compromising position when you find yourself in, like, a person that's been in your life, like you said, over 35 years, and to be, oblivious to those things. I'm not giving him a pass. I promise you I'm not. But, I can see how that happens because, being honest, no white person is going to, I promise you, I'm just calling it from my perspective. Anybody have a problem with what I'm saying and whether, please reach out, and correct me. But from my perspective, no white person, no matter if they have the greatest intentions known to man, will ever trade places with a black person. It's just not going to happen.
Oh, absolutely not. Why would you? And that's the thing that I brought up to him. Like I said, we had a very candid conversation about this, and I brought up, so many instances. His other kids, I haven't seen them since the wedding, and it's been well over 35 years. Just stuff like that. But I'm saying you can either choose to keep ignoring it, but I'm going to start taking it after 35 years. I'm about to start taking it as that you don't care for me. You're not there for me because none of those instances are you there to protect me.
Facts. You got to call a spade a spade.
So my thing is this, that's not love. That's not love if you're not standing up and saying stuff. You cannot look the other way while I'm being oppressed and you're benefiting from it. And you think it's okay. I don't subscribe to that.
Nobody should, but, we're, I guess, appealing to, a common decency. And I'm not saying, white people like that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying and whatnot, just how much the system works on us. Let's be honest, right? Mm-hmm. Just how much the system works on us, it works on them too.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, not only do we have to have, we have to knock down those barriers. They have to move those barriers out the way and see, life through our lens. But once again, it's kind of hard to do because, like, I can go out this door right now. I'm a black man, in my car, whatever. White man goes out and whatnot. He's not for once going to feel that I may not come home today. That this can be my last commute to work. No, that thought never
he's not
goes.
Gonna feel it, but he can be conscious of it that he doesn't have to be.
And that's important.
Right.
And that part,
he can choose, and they can choose that. That's the difference.
Right.
Nobody's saying give up your privilege. Nobody's saying other that, but need to recognize that and don't further contribute to it.
Facts.
So,
it's true.
Do you guys not do holidays together?
Like I said, I have not seen my older siblings in well over 35 years. Now, my younger brother, Ian, he was raised by my mom. So, of course, we don't see him, he's us. And they treat him, just like us. They treat him just like he's an N-word lover.
Oh.
Okay. Oh,
wow.
But because he was raised by my mom, he was raised, side by side with us.
Okay.
They don't visit him. They don't say anything to him either. And
how did they treat your mom?
It's the whole thing. Like she doesn't exist.
Oh. Yeah, no, I can't go to holiday. I can't. I could make
we have our own because my mom's side of the family is gymongous. So it doesn't matter. It's not even a factor because we're so huge.
Right.
Like I'm number 7 of her children and she's number 3 of 20 kids. So we don't give a damn.
You shouldn't. And you don't have to give a specific location, but where does your family?
Michigan City, Indiana, up in there in that racist ass town. That's where they live at.
Okay, then, boys and girls.
She said geo-map it, Google map it, honey. I tell you, exactly
right up there on Lake Michigan. If that dip, that's where it is.
Right.
I'm not sure because my thing is this: I am over making things palatable for white people.
Okay.
Because that stuff, when it comes to us, it ain't palatable.
Got you. So do you think that we need their help and to overcome systematic racism?
Absolutely. Because we didn't, I'm not talking about the Civil War, but there were people when it came to slavery, there were people against it and there were people that helped because without the white people also helping, the Underground Railroad would not have existed because we needed places to hide in. So in that aspect, yes. But what we don't need is for you to be the face of every darn thing.
Well, that comes with, you have to understand and whatnot. Let's keep it a buck, right? I love where we're going to and whatnot. I promise you I do this shit all day long. Look, so like the reason, like I'm not like if I was white, I'm like I would not even tote that line because I can fuck up almost the majority of my life, and because I'm white, I know that I'm going to get another shot.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm not right. So I'm not going to I'm not, far as I'm speaking for the people that still believe. Now, there's some people that don't believe, but there's other people that believe like they need to keep that positioning. What I mean by that, they need to keep, the bullshit of Jesus Christ being white. They need to keep the bullshit of Santa Claus. They need to keep the bullshit of white is right. They need to keep the bullshit of, if we're going to help you, we're going to do it when we're positioning ourselves as the hero in the story, right? It's always, think about it. It's always them as the hero and the savior of the day. Like we don't need no motherfucking
not at all, and that's my problem. No, we don't need you as the savior. We can save ourselves, but we need your help to have unity. We need that. But that's the thing is you can work with us without not being above us or saving us.
Because once again, like you cannot subject any other race to what we've been subjected to and expect them to survive and thrive. And that's the most baffling thing to them. For the listeners out there and whatnot, like this is the first time that we really went down this rabbit hole, and I'm super glad that we did. Like, and if y'all think this is new,
finances.
That and being
entrepreneurship, right.
If you got time, I promise we're gonna double back.
We're gonna double back.
Oh no, I'm having a good time. So
right. We gonna double back, but this is always going to be a thorn in my side, right? I don't subscribe to racism. I don't subscribe to that. But what I do subscribe to is it gets to a point in time that a person gets tired of the bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like the most meek person, like I'm tired. Like it's this, enough is enough. I'm tired of the status quo. And another thing I'm tired of passive Negroes. Exactly. I'm tired of everything that something happens to us. If a cop kills one of us, the first thing out of their mouth will, when we going to stop killing each other? And I'm thinking like,
but that is a byproduct of white supremacy.
Facts. But okay. But this is
people got to still get over there because that's the white supremacy, that's a systematic oppression. And just like back in slavery, everybody wasn't trying to escape. Some people was like, oh, well, at least I ain't getting treated like so-and-so up over there. And they stayed when they had opportunities to run. That same mentality is here right now. So your thing is this, what you got to get over, you can only change yourself.
Exactly, and that's where real change starts at. And I know this this podcast is supposed to have been about being an entrepreneur. Yeah, stay with us, people. I'm gonna try my best to bust a U-turn. But
trust the process. Trust the process. It's all necessary.
Right. If we don't get back there, I promise you're still going to learn something. Like, bullshit aside, if we don't get back to telling you what it takes to grind, besides bigger than your 9 to 5, if we don't get back to telling you that there has to be a sacrifice, an equal amount sacrifice for the things that you're asking the universe for, we're going to be patient. We're going to give you something of equal value, right? You know what I mean? My problem is with the, lackluster Negroes. This is the problem I have with them. Anytime something happens to one of us by, people in power, meaning whether it be the police officer, whether it be the government, they readily point back to what we do to one another. And then they always reference black on black crime. And they're so slow, like slow. And when I mean slow, they slow like frozen molasses, on a tree slow, right? It doesn't get much slower than that, right? And what I mean by this is that's the only statistic that they have. There's no Chinese on Chinese crime. There's no white on white crime. Like, people assault people in their same neighborhoods.
But that doesn't move. Right. But that doesn't move the needle of scare tactic. Exactly. Because it doesn't move the needle of scare tactic.
So, and that's just it. And soon as we want to rally the troops, as soon as we want to, and then you got those people that's past, they want to but what about, no. We'll clean our own mess up sooner or later.
Exactly. But the sad part is that what they overlook as people are in the neighborhoods and marching and protesting when black people kill black people all the time. It just does not make the news, but people are out there doing it.
Facts. This is true.
And then the reasons, though, and then the thing is that we don't talk about either is us killing us. What is the stem of that too? Like, if we gonna keep it a buck, we're gonna let's talk
systematic oppression,
right? So let's just take the drug game for instance. I'm gonna go all the way out there. So you got a dime hustler on this corner, you got a brick hustler on that corner. But here's the thing: they don't own any of that. They all work for a white boy who lives out in, whatever hills of your city, who sits there and is making, millions and millions of dollars. So when they kill each other, of course they don't care. In the hood.
Right. Well, quiet is kept. You cannot grow cocaine in America.
At all. So who has the planes? Who has the ships? Who has all that? It's not the magic of Negro in the hood.
Okay. Facts. Who got a tinted out Impala with, sitting on 22s.
Well, but once again, like we when speaking about that, and I guess the lane that you're about to go down, and it's sad because we've been taught to show, and it's been this back into entrepreneurship. People, I promise you, I told you I was getting back. Look, so we have been conditioned to show our wealth. We've been conditioned to show I have this. We've been conditioned to show we've been conditioned. But if you see the typical, white person and whatnot, they just look just that typical. Like, but 9 times out of 10, if they're done right by, with their money, they have things put away. But sadly for us, we need to show that. And once again, that because we want to impress others, and then we want to show people that we've made it. But how can you?
Let's break that down.
Okay.
Please, let's.
Because let's get to the fact of why Black people were taught to show their wealth. Because let's break it down. Since we're talking about, being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, you need to work on your credit. One of the first things they did when Fair Isaacs decided to make the credit system is you had to prove that you were credit worthy. How do you prove that you are credit worthy in the early 1900s? You have to show what you had. Who didn't have anything? Us. So therefore, it was the clothing that you had to try and prove it. And that has carried on because white people don't have to prove it.
Right.
We're taught we have to prove it. And then we took it, and like Black people do, we make it our own. That's when, you get the videos and all that other stuff. It comes to be in that flashy world, but it all stems back from the credit reporting agency where we were not proven to have credit in order to get something simple as a loaf of bread from the dang on store.
That's crazy. So I guess that begs, that answer begs me to ask this question. How do we, stop playing that game? I think that's the easiest game to play, right? I honestly do, because it takes a little, determination. It takes a little discipline. That's the word I'm looking for. It takes discipline to be like, I don't have to show the world as though I'm not necessarily in that that time anymore. I'm not in the 1917s, 18s, 20s anymore, right? I'm here and now. There's other things that I can do and still, you know what I mean, look like an average Joe, but I can go ahead and connect with other people that's going to, like, you know, help me build, you know, my family legacy and my wealth empire.
Yeah, you have to, you know, put in the work to find it. I mean, one of the things that I do, like my credit is excellent. But I'm not going up in the store. I'm not a materialistic person per se. So I'm not going in the store with, you know, the high end bags and the high end clothes on that. I kind of look like, you know, plain Jane sometimes when I walk up in the store. And I see how I'm treated, and I end up going with the person that's not acting a fool. Facts. On purpose, and I will pull up my credit score on my phone because I have the credit app, you know, the My FICO app on my phone, and whatever I'm looking for, because, you know, you have the 3 bureaus, but you also have, if you're looking for an auto, a credit card or something, you have different scoring models. I will pull up that scoring model in their face and bust all those feelings. I have done it. Heck, I just did it last week when I bought me a new truck.
So you Carfax.
I am here for it.
So you gave them the Carfax without them having to pull it up.
Yeah, I pulled it up, like, you know, as soon as I walked in. Like when he had asked about it, you know, I told him exactly what I wanted, and he had that slight pause. I'm getting it. And then he was like,
don't you hate that?
Yeah, he was like, well, what's your credit looking like? I was like, actually, I'm gonna see this brother up over here. You move out my way. I'm gonna see this brother up over here. I was like, come here. I said, come here. And I just held out my phone to him.
He gladly took it.
And he was like, what do you need, sister?
Okay.
And I said, I need not to be dealing with this salesman, number one. Go get your manager. And while you're going to after you go get your manager, go get the truck that I asked for. So let me tell you, my credit score is in the area that they don't bother checking my employment. They don't bother checking any of those things. I didn't have to come in with anything but that score.
And since we're talking about on the subject of credit now, and we know that one of your many hats is assisting people with their credit, if you want to go ahead and plug that, please, by all means.
Yeah, it's the BG Credit Lab, which stands for the Brown Girl Credit Lab, because I am, you know, everybody needs good credit, but when it comes to, you know, Black people, you know, we've been a little bit behind the power curve, and we've been screwed over so many times. So I give you, you know, my focus is for Black people, because I don't sugarcoat anything when I speak to you. You know, not in if you pick up my book on credit, I don't sugarcoat it in there. I give you the real stories or the horror stories that I've been to, which unfortunately still involves systematic racism as part of it. Because no matter how great your credit is, they don't know how great your credit is until they actually run it. And then they'll still try some things.
Oh, yeah.
So I break it down, you know, for everyone. Yes, anyone can use my services, but it's geared towards Black people, because we need to be talked to a certain way. Just like when we go to the doctor, you can't say certain things for us and expect for us to get it.
Facts.
You gotta be real with people.
What's the biggest hang up that you find about Black people or brown people, however we want to word it, not taking their credit seriously?
One of the biggest key hangups is, you know, their Fenty bag, that stuff like that. They'll rather pay for that versus paying to get their credit fixed, or, you know, fixing their credit. And that's the other thing too. I don't fix people credit. I make you do the work. I give you all the tools and make you do it yourself, because I want you to have this for life.
Right. That means if you F it up again, you have the knowledge to fix it yourself.
Absolutely.
Got you. That goes back to the old saying. I don't want to misquote the Bible again, because, you know, we have a Bible thumper on the podcast that should remain nameless. But it goes back to I believe the word is parable. Like, you know, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but you teach him fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Exactly.
So
that's not
got you. Say what you say?
It's not biblical, but okay.
Oh, Jesus, enough. Take the wheel. Like, I promise you, we're talking about schematics here, really? Say again?
You said I was going to be a Bible thumper, so, I mean, if you could tell me where in Proverbs it is, I mean, I'll rock with it.
I want to be honest with you, right? When it comes to the Bible, like, I've read the Bible cover to cover, not a problem, right? But I don't base my life on a book. It's just my relationship with God, right? Just my understanding.
The Bible's
like
the
bottom
guideline.
line, flat out.
Right. The Bible's
I'm
the
not,
guideline.
I mean, if that's what you rock with, then that's what you and whomever else is listening, that's what y'all. I'm not. If that floats your boat on a Sunday afternoon while you dressed up in I'm not. That's you, right, or whomever else. But for me, it's just my personal relationship with with God. Point blank. Period.
As it should be.
Facts.
Moving on. you and your non-Bible verses, from the book from the book of DK, chapter 2.
I'm just like, and that's like we can go down this rabbit hole too, right? And the reason, and you can go in and put that with, systematic racism, like you in the Bible itself, like come on now, like if I'm an author, there's plot holes, so you got to really ask yourself like this, like some things just don't make common sense.
Or we could discuss how Christianity was given to the slaves. I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole.
Exactly. So what religion were we rocking with before they gave us Christianity? But we don't, that's a very deep rabbit hole. And I'm going to go ahead and put this ladder down and pull this out because we really don't do religion. But like I said, but one thing I will say is like, whatever your relationship is with, God, however you want to call him, rock out with it. Bottom line, flat out, life is too short to be like, living, by somebody else's rules that, nobody really fact check. That's just my 2 cents.
Oh, let me throw this in there, Dan, since we are here. Christianity has always been a thing. It just was perverted once Constantine decided to, that, I like this religion. And that's when it was perverted.
Okay.
But, right. I am not religious at all. I just know history. Okay.
All right. Bottom line, flat out, I'm not. And once again, like that, I just think everybody, no matter what it is, whether it comes to, religion, a person's preference when when dealing with sex, whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, trisexual, shout out to Tevin Campbell, it doesn't make a difference. It's just life. Like my thing is live your life because it's yours. Like that's the gift that God gave you, your life. That's the, like, I'm not passing judgment. I am not perfect. I got so much shit with me. I promise you, a lifetime of toilet paper couldn't wipe it away. Right. But I'm going to live my life because it's mine. I'm going to get off my doggone soapbox now. You know what I mean? Sit back on my throne like the king I am. God damn it.
Flush. Wash your hands.
No need to. The aroma's great. Anyway, spinning this back, what do you propose personally are some of the things that can actually stem the tide or flat out break systematic racism? Do you think that there's anything out there that, we can do as a people? Because what happens is, movements get started, movements start, movements get started, infiltration happens. It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors, a bunch of bullshit when we talk about politics. Let's keep it a buck. So do you think personally, what can we do? Like answers, right?
Systematic racism is built on the system. So you have to be able to be a part in control of the system. We're not in those areas of the system, to be the majority in it, because that's how you have to change something. So
with that answer, then, so what you're saying is it's not changeable.
I mean, eventually, but like I said, I'm going to be dead. You're going to be dead. Our kids going to be dead.
They kids going to be dead.
Exactly.
Right. Because nobody in their right mind is going to give up power. Because if I was in power, I'm not giving it up.
So we'll see some changes. We'll see subtle changes here and there. But I mean, just like, now, just look at the past decade. We've seen changes, but we also seen that whiplash, which I want to call that white lash back.
So do you think that was funny as hell? Do you think those changes are, pacifying us?
No. For some people, at one point in time, it was. But once you started having, I want to go from Tamir Rice. Once you start going from murder after murder after murder after murder, and we're not being able to let up, even in the midst of a pandemic, we can't even just die from the pandemic. When you have that, we're in what I like to call the new revolution right now. We've been in it for a little bit, but there was always, just like the Civil War, it was a couple years beforehand before that really kicked off. We're in the midst of that, getting towards the end of, we're just about to all out brawl.
So how do you think we position ourselves?
When it comes to that, I'm like, at this point, be prepared for anything.
And everything.
Yeah, and everything. Because, I honestly can't call it. Just, with my household, I'm not going to lie. even baby girl know how to shoot.
You've done nothing wrong.
But I am a veteran. I'm training that, but shoot, I can't be a whole army of one up over here, if it comes down to everything. So you have to be prepared and stuff like that. But yeah, but I'm not saying that we're out there walking the streets like them old the jerks that was out there killing protesters and stuff. No, but I will defend me and mine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's your God-given and constitutional right.
Exactly. Even though the Constitution wasn't written for us, I'm gonna take that.
You're damn right about that there.
But I will use it. I will use it when I can. I will use it when I can, when it applies. But you cross on that property line, please know, whoever you serve, you might want to be sure y'all together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, I'm prepared for,
the worst.
The worst. I'm prepared for a civil war. I'm prepared for the zombie apocalypse. I'm prepared for aliens. I'm prepared for everything right about now, because there's no telling what 2020 is going to bring us.
Right. The Walking Dead, Doomsday. Yes. Say whatever you got in the wheel of Jumanji. I'm ready for it.
Well, as much as we're laughing at that, there's always truth in jest, right? Mm-hmm. And anybody that's partially awoke will attest to the fact that if I want to give you something, I'm gonna give it to you in entertainment. I'll give it to you in film. I'll give it to you in book. I'll give it to you in song. So when that thing actually comes about you, you're not surprised. You're not shocked.
You got to spoon feed it in there, but you're hearing it.
Right. So what happens is, like, when things start to, like, insert information starts to drip, it doesn't move us. Mm-hmm. Like, I seen a meme recently and whatnot. There's two, I want to say, was it hurricanes coming towards, I guess, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And people are like, hey, okay, and what else? Like, we're so desensitized because of 2020 and all the bullshit. Yeah. It's not even funny. There was a video going around. I first seen it on IG. Ice Cube was talking about make the Democrats earn our vote. Like, what are we getting out of the deal? And he how do you feel about that? Do you think that we need to actually get something tangible? I'm not talking about the rhetoric. I'm not talking about broken promises. I'm talking about something tangible, even if it's along the lines of 40 acres and a mule, pardon me.
At this juncture, when you look back at history, the Voting Rights Act, the actual Voting Rights Act, we're not talking about the one that was in 65. We're talking about the one that was in the end of 1800 during Reconstruction. What exactly were they getting out that deal with that right to vote?
I don't know. Were they getting anything?
They wasn't getting nothing. But it was just having the ability for the right to vote. That's where I'm at right now. I have the right to vote, and I'm going to exercise it, because we're at such a chaotic moment. I can't sit here and say I got to make them do whatever for me right now, because we're going to end up with this clown in office again if I feel like that. So right now, like I said, I don't care if Joe Biden and Kamala rolled up with with Joe Biden with a sawdall head and Kamala is riding on the back of it. I don't give a damn. I will cross that bridge when I got to, because what we have right now is unacceptable.
Yeah,
and we can work on other stuff. But I know right now, for some man that sits there and his reading book was a book written by Hitler. Let me tell you a little thing about Hitler that possibly, because I've seen some people make those comments and say, "Oh, America has never been like Germany." Hitler got his information from the United States on what was his problem to do with what he called it, the Jew problem. Mm-hmm. He got his information from Jim Crow in the United States. Absolutely. You can look that up. That's facts.
I promise you, I am. Yeah.
So when you say that it wasn't like that, the Jewish Holocaust was horrendous, but people like to overlook the fact that after slavery, there were so many massacres of Black people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
Because the population was too high. I'm talking about Black folks. They're locking them and building walls in reservoirs and just not letting them out and killing them. I'm talking about 2,000 people at a time.
Yeah.
The Black folks that end up getting lynched and killed for all over the years. The Black folks that are getting killed now. You add those numbers up against the Jewish Holocaust, who the heck is up in the Holocaust? And don't get me wrong, the Jewish Holocaust, that was horrendous, but we're still in the middle of a freaking Holocaust.
Facts. But the difference was and is, they said, speaking of the Jewish people, the Jewish community, they said this will never happen to them again. And they galvanized their resources and they made sure that nothing like this could ever happen to them again. And the problem with that I see with us, we're divided down into our fucking DNA. Like we have so many separations within our race, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. But the thing with the Jewish people too, that they were able to do that we can't do, the Jewish people were actually able to come to America and blend right in. We can't do that.
Right.
We can't do that.
Can't.
And they were also given reparations. We were never given that. The slave owners were paid reparations for freeing their slaves, for the damage done to them for no longer having slaves.
Yes, for their loss of property is exactly what they call it. We
never got that. So that is the difference when it comes to that. We can't blend in. We can't do any of those things. So we got to fight our fight here and not let that. I don't think we will ever end up back in slavery again, because we're going to fight that. But we get too passive on some of the other things and letting that slide and letting that, oh, it wasn't meant to be like that. No, it's exactly what the heck it is, what it's been since 1614.
And the sad part about us is that we have learned to live through trauma, not victory, because we've never seen it.
Yes.
We've never seen victory. We take the small ones because it feels good. But at the end of the day, we know how to live through trauma, and we are very crabs in the barrel. We don't want to see, because we don't know how to. We don't know how to see the other person win, whether it's black men to black men, black women to black women, black men to black women. Like, for the fact that we have to constantly say, as black women, entrepreneurs or otherwise, say, hey, you guys got to support us and we support y'all. Like, why do I still have to say that in 2020?
But that still goes back to what nobody in the history since, Great Britain was a thing. Nobody has had to endure what Black Americans have had to endure. That systematic racism, that taking you on the plantation and dividing you and making you feel like you got something better than the other one, even making you feel like if you were in the North, you had it better than the folks in the South. And then when in reality, you were still dealing with Jim Crow up in the North. It just was called something else.
Facts. Believe that.
But in your mind, you feel like, well, I'm going to let them fall down there because I'm doing a little better up here. When in reality, all y'all still in the pot cooking.
Right. It's all the same playing field. They have made sure that the playing field is the same level. We just haven't figured it out yet.
With all the great information, that you're giving, that you're saying right now, do you think that we as a people are ready to hear that? Because I'm pretty sure that you get even more passionate doing your documentary Surviving America. Do you think like you, because let's keep it a buck, right? Because like Nick Cannon went through the Nick Cannon thing, right? But Viacom doesn't own us.
Exactly. That's one thing is, there's the difference with me. I don't give a damn. I was raised not when it came to the oppression of myself.
Right.
I don't give a damn.
So earlier you shouldn't, by the way. But earlier you did say, you referenced, people being spoon fed, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to actually take, a people that's been sound asleep, that's been, they've been passively sound asleep, and to give them this information, I'm just asking, I would love for you to speak on this. It may have an adverse effect on them, because some people don't want to be waking up, because you're fucking with their reality, like in the Matrix. Like my man, like I know this steak is some bullshit, right? Have you seen Matrix?
Absolutely. Come on now.
I apologize. Please forgive me. So my man was like, I know this steak is some bullshit, but I need to go back so I can finish eating this bullshit. So for you to give this information that's going to awaken the people, to, to galvanize the people and whatnot, what effect do you think it's going to have? And are you prepared for the backlash from your own people once you start to, once making Surviving America is ready to be seen?
Well, put it like this. We're not a monologue. We're not a hive mind. Black people are not the Borg. We don't have all the same thoughts. There will be some people that just be like, okay, that's not for me. But I will tell you like this, like I have brothers in arms that I have served with, that I have said to hell with you because of their happiness is built on my oppression. I I don't give a damn. You can have your attitude all you want to, long as you don't try to show up to my door.
Facts. Say the ring
all that
to a different ring.
All that gangster online snapping. I don't care. These hands are rated E for everybody.
That's gonna be a t. I'm letting you know now. That's a t-shirt. Like you go and sue me. I'm just letting you know now. It's a fucking t-shirt. I'm letting you know.
Is rated
Don't be mad at me. I gave you.
I'm not.
E for everybody.
Everybody.
Bullshit. Let me write that. She think I'm joking.
No, that's
you don't see that. Oh, if you don't see that shit on Teespring.
Right. Said Mimi said these hands is rated E for everybody.
Yeah.
So where do you see us in the future? Like I don't want to say 100 years from now. Let's just do tangible. So in the next 5 years.
Lord Jesus. I mean, the thing is, in the next 5 years, we're still, whether 45 wins or loses, we're still going to be dealing with that aftermath, because he is not going to go silently into the night.
No. I promise you he's not. Like, I've never, and although I don't agree with nothing he does, I do respect his motherfucking gangster.
You got to.
He is dragging his nuts across anything that's constitutional, patriotic. Like, my man is like, what? No. Let's fuck up the mill next.
Yeah.
We can't. Yes. Once again, I don't agree, but you got to respect a person. Like, if I'm going out, I'm going out fighting.
It's plenty of people that have fought in wars in the past on opposite sides that have respected each other's strategy. But I'm still gonna shoot you.
You goddamn right. It won't hesitate while I do so.
Exactly. So that's the way that I look at that. Like, I mean, you gotta laugh at it to not cry from it, and just be like, okay, I see you clowning. But like I said, we're still gonna be going through we're gonna go through a reconstruction period, because it's not just him, it's everybody else that's labeling him too. They gotta answer for that stuff too. When the new, whether 4 years or the next 8 years person comes along and handles it, they're going to have to pay for that. Those choices that they made. There will be a reckoning.
Do you think
to say the least? Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you think they're going to try to go backwards, or you think we're going to go back forwards? Because my thing is this, under 45, his goal really was just to demolish everything Obama did. That was the end all be all.
I think the sad part is the knife has been stuck in so far. As Malcolm X would say, you stick that knife in and you pull it out a little bit. It might feel like a little bit of relief, but the thing is, the knife is still up in there. So some people are going to be okay with the small changes, but we're going to be going back to what it was prior to what President Obama was elected. We're going to go back to that. And then that's going to feel like progression. What it really is just resetting us to where we are.
Right, which is potential recession. And a lot of people aren't prepared for that. I mean, it's one thing to go through COVID, but it's another to go through recession. I mean, at this point, I posted about it today. I'm like, listen, y'all, and I've gotten on my daughter about this. I said, listen, y'all waiting for your handout, and there's not going to be one. Like, everybody's like, where's my second stimulus?
There's not going to be anything. Like, I took my son just literally finished signing his papers for the military now, because I'm like, look, you're gonna have to have something, because your mama can't sit here and take care of you. Facts. And I mean, and that's something that I know for a fact, regardless how anybody feels about the military, that's a paycheck. That's a guaranteed paycheck.
Right.
This is true.
Right. And they pay for your education and whatever you want to do in life.
So people are going to have to look and see what else they can do to get by. Because I'm going to tell you, half those jobs that are gone, they're not coming back.
And the other thing that people aren't thinking about is that when, quote unquote, COVID is over, because, I work in the ER. So for me, I'm like, listen, there's more than the whole government part about it. Yes. Did they play some part? Absolutely. But once this, quote unquote, blows over, you have to think, companies have realized, I don't need as many people on this side of war. I don't need that many people.
Some of those jobs are, that's what I mean. That some of those jobs are not coming back.
A lot of those jobs, right? I'm so sorry to speak over, but a lot of those jobs, you're right, are definitely not coming back. If anybody's paying attention, you can see the people that learn to thrive through this, like Chick-fil-A, right? They thriving. Like, I promise you, they got lines the lines is in the street. Like, where traffic's supposed to be driving, they got the lines, and they sit there patiently waiting, like they're about to go pick up a crack sandwich. Like, so they pivoted and they was able to still maintain and serve, their customers without missing a beat, losing a step. And then what happens, a lot of people work from home now. So all the doggone businesses that, thought they need to have people actually inside of the buildings, we don't need y'all. At all, right?
Yeah.
And so for anybody that's, listen to the podcast right now, spin this back to entrepreneurship, far and few between, but bear with us. You really need to learn a great skill, right? You need to learn a skill that, transcends what's going on in the world today.
Yeah,
that's the only way. Like it can't be something that is bearing upon, it can't, like it doesn't have room to grow. Like, if I got this one skill, but ABC has to happen for the skill is in demand. No. Whatever skill that you're going to learn, it has to be in demand no matter what's going on in the world today.
Yeah, you have to adapt. You have to do everything. Like, I even went back to school. I went back to school just because, I started a new business at the beginning of the pandemic and it was doing wonderful. I started a makeup business at the beginning of right before it was like, hey, we're in a pandemic, and I was thriving as soon as I launched. But then quickly I realized those priorities changed for people as it pertains to makeup.
Right. Because where are you going to go?
So I had to pivot, and do some things differently and transition into, masks.
It don't take a lot. And people don't like, it doesn't take something huge. It doesn't. It's a demand. Let me feel this demand. That's like, whomever's listening to this and whatnot, stop thinking that it's going to be this big explosion in your mind that's going to change. It's not. I promise you it's not. It's feel a demand.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get it more. I can't say it simpler than that. Simply feel a demand.
Yeah.
Scale that, what you've done, and then do it again, right? Because there'll be more demands. That's all you gotta do. If you really want to change the trajectory of your life, if you really want to have a legacy within your family, that's all you gotta do. Like, run it down, right? Yeah. So you Uber, right? Uber's knocking the taxi cabs out of business. They felt a demand.
Yes.
And they don't even think about it. They filter the demand and they don't even own taxi cab cars. They make you use your own car, but they get paid. Yeah. Like, how gangsta is that shit?
Wait, and then they took it to the next step because now they have Uber Eats, which they've had it for a minute.
They deliver food. So and they were killing it during the pandemic when people can't get out. They were killing it.
Oh yeah,
fill a demand.
Yeah, Walmart pivoted to their online side.
Exactly,
and now they're starting to rival Amazon because of it.
That's going to be a great fight. That's going to be truly a heavyweight fight. I got popcorn. I want to see how this is going to turn out.
Mm-hmm. Listen, they definitely are doing. They're definitely doing their homework with the whole Wayfair situation and Amazon situation that's going on right now. Walmart is definitely killing it in the game because I myself has bought some furniture, some rugs. Listen, I got a really nice rug for like $6. I think altogether with shipping was $12. I was like, listen. I don't know where I was that day where I wasn't paying attention that y'all had a whole, actual like furniture side, like a real furniture that you really, really want. They had some really great couches that I think one couch was like, used to be like $600 and then people got it for like $200 and they're leather couches, so they definitely have learned how to swerve. So for all of us who are entrepreneurs and now that we're talking about, the pandemic and doing that pivot, what are two things only, DK?
I'm long-winded and I can't count that high.
I'm gonna count for you because I know I'm happy your hearing aid works right now, but I need you to do two. I don't care if it's on your fingers or on your toes, but figure out two things that you would tell entrepreneurs, not just in the pandemic, but post-pandemic of how to thrive. Maybe we'll start with you.
I'm sorry. Let me be quiet.
Thank you.
Omega. I apologize. I was raised better.
You said DK. Okay.
No, I thought so too, right? But
I slid back. Like, oh, okay.
No, I'll go with you first because you're our guest.
Okay. My thing is to adapt. See what the need is, like DK said. See what the need is and to adapt to it. And whatever your business is right now, you need to make it automated. People are used to things quick, fast, in a hurry. Like with the credit side, all of my stuff is a class. You can download that stuff and move on. I don't have to be there for you. You don't have to email me or anything. It's there. Take it and go. You have to make it, things easily accessible. Stop all this. Oh, I done went over two. Never mind.
Go
ahead. I'll let you slide.
Like you give a real game. If you don't keep going.
Yeah, stop all this inbox me for info, because I can guarantee you I'm not inboxing anybody for info. You better have your website ready. You better have something that people can click on. Utilize your resources. And this is the other thing. If I can't stress this enough, figure out who your target audience is. Your target audience is not your friends and family. Quit getting mad at your friends and family for not supporting you. They are not your target audience.
Speak on it.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Speak on it. Speak on it. Like really, Omega took all of mine. So she definitely took all jokes aside, I don't know if I'm gonna give a specific two. What you have to realize is, and not speaking bad about people, I'm only speaking what I've observed. For the most part, the masses is lazy, right? Mm-hmm. The least they want to do, they want to be served at all times. So like I said earlier, Omega reiterated, find a demand, feel it. That it's not don't overthink the process. Okay. Don't overthink the process, right? You don't have to overthink the process. And the other thing that I would definitely give people, get around like-minded people. You cannot grow if you're with it's impossible to grow if you're around shallow-minded people. And that's not a knock. I promise you it's not, because everybody's not meant to grind. Everybody is not meant to thrive. You can't everybody in the world is not meant to be rich. We're witnessing that now. I promise you we are, right? And since everybody's not meant to be rich, you can't be around the same people that you grew up with. If they're not on that grind mentality, it's not going to happen. It's cool to kick it once in a blue moon, but if you really want to stretch your life, if you really want to leave an indelible mark before you die, you got to get around people that's so much more better than you. Like my little brother, last year he earned $400K. And both of us is high school dropouts. We GED. We the GED boys, right? And so we kick it, we talk. But when he get to talking business, I scale back because now I'm learning, right? Mm-hmm. Because he earned $400K, I didn't. I'm still a 9 to 5 running behind a trash truck and praying my knees a whole lot. I'm being that transparent for somebody, right? But the more I listen to him, the more, okay, he did that. Oh, he talked to, oh, he did. Oh. And then I start to piece it all together, but you can't piece shit together if you're around the same people and you ain't talking about nothing.
Let me piggyback off of that. Also, when you're starting something, quit telling people your dreams and ideas before you've done anything, because the people that you thought would be there for you are mainly going to be the ones that talk you right up in it. You're already going to have that fear and that doubt. Stop letting people talk you out or your dreams. And to piggyback off the other thing you said about, the 9 to 5, whatever like that, I lost my job at the very beginning of the pandemic. I worked for Delta, which even though I still had all my other businesses on the side, I worked for Delta. I got laid off right at pandemic started. I was gone. I was one of the first people out, but I've made $60,000 since then.
Ooh. But so what does that? So okay. To piggyback off what you said, I guess we piggybacking a whole lot, right? So look, I'm not knocking the conventional way about how people go about life, but during this pandemic and just being an entrepreneurial part of me shows that you don't have to do nothing conventional anymore. There are no rules. Right. Stop thinking that I have to do A, B to get the CD. It's not right. It's real simple shit. Don't overstand the process, understand the process, and trust the process, right? She told you she just told you I got laid off. And then since that happened 6 months ago, I done made 60K. Some people still at their 9 to 5 and whatnot and gonna pull in 30K. If you feel offended by what I said, then be offended because I meant to be offensive.
Yeah, I mean, I could have took that and I could have been like, woe is me, or, whatever. But I set myself up. I knew it was going to happen. I mean, first thing I did was I enrolled back. Even though I already have a degree, I enrolled back in school thinking that, let me use my GI Bill and I'll get that money from there. I haven't even had to touch it yet. I learned to pivot. When my business, the makeup business, switched, I pivoted. We had already been talking for a few years about me going automated with the credit. It's automated. And all I did, I lowered the price a little bit for COVID, be COVID friendly. With the film stuff, because I've been putting out so many content, I constantly got people talking to me there. I'm a one-stop shop as far as production goes.
Black Wonder Woman. Black Wonder Woman is in the house.
I don't have to go to the studio. Yes, I have access to the studio. I don't have to go to the studio. I'm not going to the studio with all my editing and everything that I'm doing now. I have all my equipment at home. The people at the studio be like, dang, why, you don't even need us, do you? No, not really. Y'all nice to look at, but doing so, I keep the money in-house.
Right.
That's a win-win situation. So, Ms. Rose, your two things, and I know that we went on a mini rant. Please forgive us.
Right.
We're kind of passionate over here about this entrepreneurship.
I was going to double dutch myself back in. Two things. I would say definitely be creative and always be receptive to change your vision board.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, constantly revamp you and your vision board. Because sometimes, like Mimi was saying, you start, I always feel like if somebody could talk you into it, they can talk you out of it. So if you are, start with your vision board, listen, a year from now, not even every 6 months, you should be relooking at the thing like, okay, how can I grind harder? What can I do better? What can I do to push myself here? How do I make the needle move? And the thing is, if you're not getting bigger in your dreams, you might need to just stop. You might need to just stick to the 9 to 5. Cause I shared this meme with DK earlier. It says my 9 to 5 pays the bills, but my 6 to 12 hones my skills.
That part right there.
And so you can't, like, the 9 to 5 is cool. The 9 to 5 is cool. Like, I like my 9 to 5. My 9 to 5 works in my schedule. Today I'm off. Yesterday I was on call. So guess what I did? When I was off, I took care of what we needed to get done for the podcast, for, I corresponded with you a little bit, Mimi, talked to some other people. Like, it's cool. The 9 to 5, nobody's knocking your hustle. Because guess what? The bills got to get paid. Kids got to be fed. For all that to happen, you got to have money coming in. So nobody's knocking the hustle. But that 6 to 12 or whatever your hours of your day are, because I work second shift, whatever those hours are that you are honing in on, you got to go a little higher every day.
You got to do more for yourself than you would do for that 9 to 5 if you want to do it. You just have to, or, if you can't put in more, put in equal. You have to do that if you want to make it. That 9 to 5 that you're working at, that was somebody's idea in their head before it became their business.
Facts. My thing with that, say, take me for instance, right? Like, I alluded earlier that, in the podcast listeners, our regulars know that, by day I am a trash man, sanitation technician, secretary. But by night, I'm Lovable Asshole DK Walker. But so when I get home, I don't have that energy, right? I don't have that, like, I'm gonna sit down and da. Sometimes it just don't work. So for people saying that, for people that's listening, that's like, I don't have that energy to do what needs to be done to get ahead in life. Just do one thing towards your business that's going to move the needle. Do the most important thing
every day.
That's all you got to do, because I'm 50. I'm tired sometimes. I got a 10-year-old. She don't know what tired is. Only like daddy. Cool. That's my heart, right? So she got to get her. She got to get my time, right? And so when I do got an hour or 2 or 3 hours out, and I'm sitting here, I'm tired. I'm looking like, I do that one thing, that one important thing that I know is going to move the needle. So if I consistently do that, and I look back and I made such huge strides, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm going somewhere. But if I was to sit back and do the tedious bullshit, the shit that's not really going to make a difference, and just to lie to myself and like wonder why I'm not going nowhere, like, you're wasting time. So if you're tired, if your 9 to 5 is draining you, like, just do one thing that's going to move the needle, and I promise you, you'll see the results, guaranteed.
If you can social media, you can do something for your business. It takes the same amount of time in most cases.
You're right. If you can go find that meme, if you can go, look at quotes, if you can do all this, if you can go like and interact in amounts to a bunch of nothing, right? Then you can like learn a skill. You can sit and go to YouTube University, right? Like, I promise you, I am never graduating YouTube University. Mm-hmm. I promise you I'm not.
I have a PhD and I'm still going back for more from Google University.
Speak on it.
But the thing about the 9 to 5, and I've said this before and I'm gonna say it again, is that the 9 to 5 should fuel you to want to your own.
Exactly.
Because we all are tired. We are all tired. You do not want to take order. Listen, an entrepreneur, you can tell an entrepreneur because an entrepreneur will grind their teeth when they told what to do and it doesn't make sense to them. Like, for why? What is the point of me doing this? Like, at what point did you think that this was a good idea? And like, I understand you write the check that pays the bills, but this is stupid. But you get so but when you get to that place of agitation, you're like, you know what? I'm not even gonna trip out. I'm gonna sit here and, you know, shuck and jive, do whatever I'm supposed to do to keep this paycheck. But when I get home, all this agitation is going into my grind. Because I'm over this shit right here. This shit right here is for the birds. Y'all gonna do the same 2-step with a nude song and it don't match.
Yeah. I'm no longer dancing to that. Go ahead.
If I can add this, look, because, you know, this is, you know, I'm over here with no mercy. I don't care about y'all being tired.
Oh, you sound like me.
Back in 2008, I was in the middle of officer training for the Army. I wrote 2 books in the middle of officer training.
Well, you cut from a different cloth.
But I don't care. My whole thing is officer training. You have no freaking time to yourself. But in those quick moments that every time I felt like I could pick up my phone and send a text, you know what I texted myself? Part of that dang story.
So so in other words, you went farther than the average person because you felt that was needed.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I knew. You know, I knew I wanted to. You know, I had already had the first book out there, and the first book had been, you know, sitting, had already been 2 years. I was like, no, I need to be honest. What do I want from this? So I realized what I wanted, and I started pushing for it. And yeah, I wasn't going to stop moving forward in my military career to stop it.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to own my own book publishing company. In order to own your book publishing company, you need more than one book.
Believe that. Do not.
Yeah.
I had to learn. I definitely had to learn the hard way that, you know, one book does not. I promise you, you can ride that high for only but so long. Yeah. You got to come down off that high, and you got to get to writing again. I learned that definitely. To say the least. So with that being said, I got one final question for you, Omegia. Where do you see yourself at in the next, 2 questions actually. Where do you see yourself at within the next 5 years? And if you had to give some solid sound advice to entrepreneurs that listen to the podcast, what would it be?
Okay. Well, where I'm going to be at in the next 5 years is by the end of 2021, I will be having my own studio, which, I mean, I do a lot of things outside of my house, but I don't want to have people continuing to come to my house. So I'm going to own my own studio, which I will be doing more productions from, because, you know, I have over 13 projects sitting and waiting right now. And it's just completing them and having them done, you know, to go. But, I'm not trying to go as hard as Tyler Perry right now because I don't have that Tyler Perry money, but I want to stay consistent and moving forward for that. And my solid advice for anybody is, if don't nobody else believe in you, you believe in you. And stop letting people stop you from doing what it is you're going to do, because people going to talk their stuff. They going to talk their stuff whether you do or you don't. So you might as well do it.
Yeah. If you're going to, don't die with regrets. If you're going to die, have regrets that you did something. Don't die with regrets that you didn't do something. There's a big difference. Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference. So with that being said, Miss Rose.
Yeah.
You want to take us out of here?
Oh, I'm going to do the takeout. You don't want the baby?
No, I'm gonna give it to her, I guess. I'm actually going to, I know that she can wax deep. So, Omegia, what we have
let me do my job, please.
You got to tell her what you need to do, though, right? You just can't,
I'm going to.
Oh, Jesus, Lord, have mercy. I'm sorry, please.
Drink some sparkling water. Rub your pressure.
I got Deer Park right here.
Okay.
Simply Bubbles.
Take a sip. Calm down. It's not sundowners. Listen, party people, you could be anywhere, but you choose every Wednesday to rock out with me and DK and our guests. And we appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts. We always say thank you. This is typically the time where I pass my baby off to DK so he could do his daily Love Jones. But because we do have a guest and she is so knowledgeable, so dope, we're going to give it to Miss Omegia and let her do the Love Jones of the day. Omegia, nothing too deep, nothing too wide. anything, whatever information that you think we should close with, that whatever's on your heart to give to people, that's what you give them.
Just whatever you do, lead with love, whether in relationships or just, relationships with your significant other or your friendships. Lead with love. Don't be used, but lead with love.
So I gotta ask, so why do you feel the need to throw that caveat in there?
What, don't be used?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, because sometimes, the heart wants what the heart wants, but the heart tells you to be stupid sometimes.
They say love is blind.
So that's what I'm saying. Don't be used. I don't care how much you love somebody. Don't allow yourself to be used and abused by it. You got to recognize the difference.
Yeah, this is definitely true. Podcast listeners, we did start out with the intention of having a podcast exclusively about entrepreneurship, but the topic got so dope, we went down a different rabbit hole. I think that y'all got a lot out of this podcast, and like my co-host said, we greatly appreciate y'all listening to us. It means a lot, because y'all could have been anywhere, but y'all choose, like she said, rock out with us. So thank you so much, and thank our beautiful guests. The title of this podcast is Wonder Woman is Black, ode to Omegia, because Wonder Woman definitely is black, because you have done a lot, you're continuing to do a lot, and you said you don't have Tyler Perry's money, and I want to add that yet you don't have that yet, but you stay the course. You keep your tunnel vision. It's nothing but numbers. It's nothing but vision and numbers, and all it takes is one project to blow. Like, it doesn't take a lot. I just need to get noticed. I need to get my foot in the door. My toe may get jammed a little bit. My critics gonna laugh at me. You know what I mean? My detractors is gonna have a field day with my supposed demise. But all it takes is just one, and then you're off to the races. So I'm going to give you an early congratulations on your success that you're having now, and definitely the great success that's definitely in your future to come.
Thank you so much.
This is the Love Is Podcast. It's your girls, that Thorny Chic, Karen KK Rose, alongside my co-host, the Lovable Asshole, DK Walker, who just couldn't let the baby go all the way. God bless him. God bless him. He has to have it.
I was thanking my guest. That wasn't my daily love. I was telling her, like, you're going to be great. Don't forget me. When you great, I can be security at the door going to sleep. Just don't forget me. When you blow up, that's all the thing. I'm just shooting my shot for a job. What the hell?
She can pay your Shady Pines bill. She definitely can pay the Shady Pines bill for you.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you again, Miss Omegia Keeys, for coming on and chopping it up with us. For more information. Ooh.
I'm sorry. I just got married. It's Omegia Keeys Holden.
Yes.
My bad. Sorry, husband.
Speak on it.
Sorry, husband. Omegia Keeys Holden. For more information on her, check the show notes. To get in touch with me and DK, you know what to do. Check the show notes. You guys are following us on Instagram. We're getting YouTube comments and likes. Listen, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Again, this is the Love Is Podcast, and we out.
Peace.
This episode of the Love Is Podcast has ended. But please be sure to subscribe for more great content on sex, entrepreneurship, life, love, and how to get through the BS of it all. And don't forget to rate and leave a review so we can continue to bring more of that thorny chick, Karen KK Rose, and, dare I say, the lovable a-hole, Mr. DK Walker. See you on the next podcast.